Modern washers have now integrated the thermal disinfection process into their cycles. The idea behind the thermal disinfection is very simple. It uses hot water to soak or rinse instruments to kill germs and achieve disinfection. Now, to measure how effective this disinfection process is, we use a concept called the A0 value. Typically, many countries or regions set a default A0 value of 600 for low-level disinfection and 3000 for high-level. But what do these numbers 600 and 3000 actually mean? Let's break down exactly what the A0 value is. Firstly, let's have a look on the official definition of A0 in ISO 15883. Yes, it is quite technical and difficult to understand directly. And to make the concept even more intimidating, ISO 15883 thoughtfully includes the integral calculation formula for the A0 value. What? So how can we understand the A0 value in a simple and intuitive way? Let's start by looking at why the A0 value was created in the first place. Imagine we are performing the thermal disinfection on an item, that is, soaking it into hot water. The goal, of course, is to kill most microorganisms. But here's a problem. How do we measure exactly how much disinfection effect that this item has received? We could, of course, take microbial samples from the item's surface at different stages of disinfection for culture testing. But this method is too much trouble, time-consuming, and you must be very cautious to procedure details. So how can we more conveniently record the cumulative disinfection effect an item has been exposed to? This is where we need a unit of measurement to quantify the accumulated disinfection effect. We can take measuring the length as example. If we want to know how long this table is, we need a ruler. But how to make this ruler? One empire in 12th century gave it a simple solution: his foot. He announced to the public that the length of his footprint should be called 1 foot. From then on, all lengths should be calculated based on this. So if you're the ruler, you get to make the rules, quite literally. So here's how we define it. The disinfection effect produced by 80 degrees Celsius of water acting on an instrument for 1 second is defined as A01. To put it in the simplest possible terms, that means if an item is placed in 80 degrees Celsius of water for 1 second, we record that as A0 equals 1. For 2 seconds, it's A0 equals 2. For 1 minute, it's 60. Therefore, low-level and high-level disinfection simply mean that the item would need to be soaked in 80-degree water for 600 seconds or 3000 seconds, respectively. However, 3000 seconds for high-level disinfection, that means 15 minutes. We all know that in a real-world wash disinfector, no disinfection phase lasts anywhere near 50 minutes. Typically, it's only about 5 minutes. So if the cycle is only around 5 minutes long for disinfection, how can the printed report still show an A0 value well over 3000? How is that possible? To explain that, we need to introduce another important concept called the Z value. We know that in thermal disinfection, the higher the temperature, the faster the kill rate. The function of the Z value is to calculate how the time needed to achieve the same disinfection result changes when the temperature also changes. For thermal disinfection processes, we set the Z value at 10 K, which is also 10 degrees Celsius. What this means is, for every 10 degree increase in temperature, the rate of accumulated A0 value will be also 10 times faster, and vice versa. That means to achieve an A0 value of 3000, we would only need 300 seconds or 5 minutes in 90 degree water. And if it goes even higher, it takes only about 1.6 minutes in 95 degree of water. Of course, if we think about the A0 value more specifically, when an instrument is just placed into 80 degrees of water, the instrument itself, it doesn't instantly reach 80 degrees. It needs some time to be warmed up, right? And the water temperature around it may also drop slightly. So at that moment, we can't simply calculate the A0 value based on the time alone. This is where we need to go back to the integral formula I mentioned earlier. But don't worry, modern wash disinfectors typically have built-in programs that do this complex calculation automatically. You can usually see the final A0 result directly on the printer report. If you're interested in sterilization and cleaning know-how, but tired of confusing textbooks and all the specific terms and standards, subscribe to turn boring sterilization know-how into exciting insights. Let's learn together. Woo!